So when I was a tiny little tyke, when I was knee-high to a June bug, if you would, we lived in the woods. It was great. Plenty of dirt to play with, plenty of trees to play with, plenty of anything but other kids to play with. So that was pretty cool. I mean, I had a little brother, but it doesn't really count because we never really got along. I mean, like, he would break all my toys, and then I would try and play with his, but then he would break his own toys so that we didn't have much toys, and then it's back to the dirt again. I had this fascination with being alone because my brother was hyperactive, and not like my kid has too much energy, so let's put him on pills kind of hyperactive. He was like a tornado with eyes. And it was really, really tremendous. Like, he could just like lay waste to like anything you had. You had sandcastles or like G.I. Joe forts or like, I don't know, like a small like hamlet of, I don't know, like any sort of peace and quiet he could just destroy. So I would always look for like something quiet to do, something solemn, something very like by myself. So it was kind of weird that like I had a little brother, but we didn't play together, and I had an imaginary friend, and like we would do things together. So like I was always looking for like forts and places to be by myself, or with my imaginary friend, or by myself with my imaginary friend. Anyway, it's like you have this quiet space, and then you want to share it with someone, but you want to share it with someone who doesn't talk back. So anyway, I had a system and it worked. But the problem came when we had this babysitter who I was convinced was a witch. Not like pointy hat and like I didn't have a little dog she could get, you know, like, but like she was just bizarre. Like she like had really bad posture, and like she was kind of our height, but she was really scary. Like her teeth were all pointing different directions. Her eyes were pointing different directions. So when my brother or I would do something stupid and she would yell at us, she would put us right next to each other, and then she would yell at one of us but look at both of us. This is like one of her many powers, one of her many things that like really weirded me out. So like my brother would do something and she would yell at me, and it's like I didn't do anything. Or I would do something and she'd yell at my brother, and like I would be like, what are you yelling at him for? I'm right here. But it was just really bizarre and super off-putting. She had a bunch of weird attributes like this that really like never let me get very comfortable around her at all. The second thing was she could drink with my dad. Which was weird, because like my dad would come home from work and he would like have a couple of beers, and like this woman would still be in the house hanging out with my dad, and I was like, Dad, don't you know she's like crazy and evil? And like I would always be so super scared that like they're sitting down there and he like doesn't know that she's there, but they're drinking beer together anyway. I mean, so it's like, look out, she's right there! You know, but like I couldn't do that because I was in my room and I wasn't allowed to come down because like that was a no-no, and like, but she had these other things that she could do. Like, we weren't allowed, like, outside of earshot, so she would come outside and whistle, and if we couldn't hear her whistle by the second time, we were in trouble, you know? So I couldn't really go outside of the house very far. I couldn't run into the woods to my, like, secret fort that, like, me and my invisible friend knew about, but he wasn't telling anybody. So I had to play like around the house. So like we didn't have many toys that worked, so there was lots of dirt, which was great. You know, I was having a wonderful time. But every time like she would yell at us, or like we'd get in trouble, like I'd complain about her, and like I didn't have anybody to complain to. So I had my invisible friend, and like, you know, I would like, oh, she's so mean. She never lets us play. She never lets us go in the woods. She's always yelling at my brother when it's my fault. She was yelling at me when it's his fault, and like. This was the weirdest thing, the third and weirdest thing that I never got over for the longest time, is that she could read my mind. Just let it sink in. She's crazy, she's got weird pointed teeth, she's looking in all different directions, and she's all like craggly and scary, and she can hear through walls. She can read my thoughts. And it's because every time I complained about her in my secret alone place, my fortress of solitude with my invisible friend was right underneath an open kitchen window.